Good afternoon, Shavua Tov and Chag Sukkot Sameach Moadim Lesimcha. This is the Israel Brief, proudly brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Raleen Marks, your host, taking a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel and the region every Monday to Thursday, right here on this platform and also on YouTube. You can find us at the Israel Brief. Click on the big red subscribe button and get your daily updates from Israel. And it's a bit of a bumper issue, so let's get right into it. And we begin with news that a terrorist attempted to stab an officer this morning very close to the town of Hebron. The officer, thank goodness, is okay, and the terrorist was neutralized. He was arrested, he wasn't killed. In other news, police have clashed with members of the Ultra-Orthodox community today, both in Bnei Brak, which is just outside Tel Aviv, and in parts of Jerusalem, leading to the arrest of 18. This has become quite a controversial issue over the weekend, as the police also clashed with protesters that were breaking the lockdown rules, and there have been accusations that the police used harsh measures that will be under investigation. But an ultra-Orthodox rabbi, understanding the big challenge that police have got ahead of them, trying to get people to comply with lockdown, actually approached officers earlier today and said, he doesn't envy them their job of trying to disperse this, trying to maintain law and order, while understanding that for his community it's a very, very different. And he actually managed to send many of his followers home, which is maybe one of the solutions to dealing with the ultra-Orthodox community. Engage the leadership. In other news, while we're talking about lockdown and talking about COVID-19, the Health Ministry announced today that infections are coming down slightly. However, we still need to be very cautious. And the Prime Minister, Bibi Netanyahu, reiterated that even though the infection rate is starting to come down, he will not be lifting restrictions anytime soon. And ministers will be discussing later today whether or not to lift the amount of money or penalties for those flouting lockdown rules. And it looks like it's very likely they're going to raise that amount. In other news, and while we're talking about normalization, and there have been so many unprecedented happenings in the region, we now look to our Defense Minister and alternate Prime Minister, Benny Gantz, who held a Zoom town hall with journalists from the region. And it was quite interesting to see that this also included a journalist from Saudi Arabia who took the opportunity to speak to the very accomplished general about some of the regional threats and opportunities. He also imparted some of his experiences as a soldier, but also as a general. He addressed issues as diverse as the threat posed by Iran, to also how do you handle misinformation in the media, especially when it comes to terror entities using population groups as human shields. A very, very interesting question. And he opened up with the priestly blessing onto the region, which is very interesting because earlier today, although very, very controlled and in small numbers, Kohanim, or the descendants of the high priests, were at the Wailing Wall to give their customary priestly blessing that takes place during Sukkot and Pesach. But if you want to watch the full Zoom town hall, it's up on our Facebook page and you can find it right there. While you're there, give us a like, give us a follow, share our content. We do love it when you do that. And staying with the theme of Sukkot and normalization, we now go to Dubai, where in a gesture of goodwill and conciliation, a Sukkah was erected just outside the Burj Khalifa, which is the world's tallest building. This is the first time a Sukkah has been put in Dubai. Really, really monumental occasion. And for the Jewish community that is in Dubai, this is an extremely welcoming move indeed. And they have spoken about how there is a lot of coexistence and a lot of tolerance in Dubai. So I think when lockdown and borders are opened, I think that the UAE can expect a lot of ushpizim or visitors from Israel. I know it's not the correct word, but you get it in the sentiment which I needed. However, in more concerning news, we now go to Hamburg in Germany, where a young Jewish, some reports a woman, others man, was attacked by somebody carrying a shovel, beaten about the head, and is in serious condition, leaving the synagogue just after prayers for the second day of Sukkot. When police patted the individual down, they found a piece of paper with a Nazi swastika inscribed on it. So yet another hate crime, and it has been condemned by German government officials. So those are the top stories making headlines in Israel and the region today. But don't forget, for more, you can check out our website at www.layouttheland.online. We have some regional voices in our monthly Arab Voice. It's up there for you to read. Also, check us out on Facebook. Give us a like, give us a follow. Let's grow this community. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Israel Brief. And while we're talking social media, we're also on Twitter. You can find us at Lay of the Land with the digit 5. Those are the top stories making headlines. And wherever you are in the world, if you're continuing to celebrate Sukkot, Chag Sukkot Sameach, for everybody else, may you have a wonderful, a safe and a healthy day. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, and we'll catch up with each other tomorrow.